Hello there guys, Mark here. I hope you are well. In today's video, we're going to tackle a classic, even iconic macrame project. We're going to be making a macrame owl out of paracord. This is a project that is, on one hand, very simple, since it uses 2, maybe 3 knots to do. If you look at it from the outside, when you haven't made any, it seems a bit intimidating. So for me, I put off this project for quite a while. I am very confident that anyone attempting this project can do it. As long as you have the patience, time, and supplies, you should be able to accomplish a macrame owl. Here you can see an example of a macrame owl. The 3 knots used to make this project are the lark's head knot, used to attach our cords onto a ring, then a series of square knots, and rows of double half hitches. So fairly basic techniques. There are a ton of different designs for a macrame owl. So this is one that I quite like. This is the one that I did first when I started out with my macrame owls. And this is the one that we're going to be making today. So it has a little perch for the owl to sit on. There are a ton of different designs, and I hope that this project is going to serve as a base for your further projects as well. Let me show you the supplies needed, then let's tie one. The first and most important supply for this project is going to be cordage. You can use a variety of different materials, you can use different colors, different cord diameters. Now in my case, I'm going to be using type 1 paracord, which is just under 2 mm in diameter. I'm going to need 8 pieces of cord, each about 3 feet long. So this is the most important supply for our project. The next supply are going to be beads. Beads are going to be used for the eyes and beak of the owl. Now the ones that I have here aren't the best, but they are what I have. Next, I'm going to be using some sort of a surface into which I can stick pins. This is not absolutely needed, but it helps hold your project in place. I'm going to get a stick in order for the owl to have a place to sit on. At the top of the owl, we're going to place a ring, which is going to help us hang the owl off of various objects. Now this can be a key ring, a metal ring, a wooden ring, whatever you have. Finally, a pair of scissors are going to come in handy for cutting our cords. And a lighter is going to help us melt our cords once we have cut them. With these supplies ready, let's begin tying our project. To set up our project, we're going to attach all 8 of our cords onto the ring using the lark's head knot. So you take your ring, you take your cord, you fold it in half, you feed this bite through the ring, and you feed the 2 ends through the bite. tighten up, and you have a lark's head knot. Pick up the next cord, fold it in half, feed the bight through the ring, and feed the two ends through the bight. Like this. And we're going to do this with all 8 of our cords. Effectively, each cord produces 2 ends. Like this. So this is our basic setup. 8 cords attached onto our ring and 16 strands to work with. We are now going to tie this top part of the owl. It has a sort of a V shape and it is made out of square knots. Square knots are also referred to as cobra knots. To get a tapered effect, we are going to tie 4 in the first row, 3 in the second row, 2 in the third row, and finally a single square knot at the bottom. So let's do this. To start tying, take your first 4 cords. The 2 middle ones are going to be the core strands. Take the left strand, pass under these 2 cords, and over the right one. Take the right strand, pass over the 2 middle strands, and into the loop on the left. Like this. Tighten up. Take the right strand, pass under the 2 middle strands, and over the left one. Take the left strand, pass over the 2 middle strands, and into the loop on the right side. Like this. Tighten up. Pull on the 2 core strands as well. Like this. Then move on to the next 4 strands. Repeat the process. Take the left strand, under 2, over 1. Like this. Take the right strand, over 2 and into the loop on the left. Like this. Tighten up. Take the right strand, under 2, over 1. Take the left strand over 2 and into the loop on the right. Like this, tighten up. Then pull on the 2 core strands as well. Like this. And move on to the next 4 cords. Repeat the process. Like this. Tighten up. Pull on the 2 middle strands as well and move on. Like this. Tighten up and tighten up the 2 core strands as well, just to get everything even. So this is our first row complete. 4 square knots, and we can now move on to the second row. The knots in the second row are done in between the knots of the first row. So you pick out the 2 core strands. So the 4th and 5th strand are going to be the core strands, and the 2 next to them are going to be the working ends. And again, tie a square knot. And there you have it. Our first square knot in the second row. Pull on the 2 middle strands as well, just to center it. Move in between the next 2 knots in the first row. Find the 2 core strands and the 2 outer ones as well. And again, tie a square knot. like this. Pull on the two middle strands to center your knot, like this. And again, find the two core strands and the two outer ones. Again, tie a square knot. Like this. Pull on the two middle strands to center up the knot, and our second row is complete. The third row only has two knots in it. We're going to tie our knots in between the knots of the second row. So find the two core strands and the two outer ones. Then tie a square knot. Like this. Pull on the two middle strands as well. And again, find the two core strands and the two outer ones. Tie a square knot. Like this. Pull on the two middle strands, and our third row is complete. The last row has a single square knot in it. Find the two core strands and the strands beside them. Tie a square knot. Like this. Pull on the two middle strands, and your tapered part of the owl is complete. For the body of the owl, we're going to be using the double half hitch. To do this, take the outer strand on the left and place it alongside your tapered part, like this, to the center. Pin it down, like this. We now have 2, 4, 6, 7 strands which we're going to attach onto this strand using the double half hitch. Take your first cord, pass under this strand, like this, and tighten up. And do this for a second time. Under the strand, like this, and tighten up. Take the second strand and repeat the process. So under this strand and tighten up. And under again and tighten up. And the third strand under, tighten up. Under, tighten up. And the next strand, like this. And the next one, and the next one, and the final one. Then, from right to left, we're going to repeat the process. Pin down the strand from the right alongside the tapered part, somewhere here in the middle. Take your first strand, pass under your diagonal strand, creating a hitch. Tighten up and do a second one. So under the diagonal strand, like this, and tighten up. Then move on to the second strand and repeat. And the third strand, again, and the next strand, like this. Keep doing this until you use up all 7 strands. So something like this. Now we're going to attach our beads for the eyes and the beak. So these are the eyes, now the beak, here at the center, like this. We are now going to line up additional rows of double half hitches to form the body. Pick up an inner strand and pass it over the other cords on the same side. Pin your cord down and tie a number of double half hitches onto this cord. From right to left, this is how we do it. We take our first cord, pass under our cord, like this, and repeat for a second time. Do the same with your next cord. And the next cord. It's always the same technique. Like this. Then do the exact same thing on the other side. Pick up an inner strand, pass it over the other cords, and pin it down. Like this. Then attach your other cords using the double half hitch. Pick up your first cord, and from left to right we do it like this. Pick up the next cord and do the exact same thing. And the next cord, exact same thing. Like this. Try to get both sides fairly symmetrical. Then simply repeat. Take an inner strand, pass it over the other strands, but at a different angle. Pin it down and attach your strands using the double half hitch. Again, from right to left, we do it like this. Like this. Then do the same thing on the right side. Pick up the inner strand, pass it over the others at about the same angle as before on the left side. Pin it down and tie your remaining strands onto this strand. From left to right, this is how we do it. like this. I'm going to continue exactly the same way, but at a different angle. I'm going to need to repeat this maybe 2 more times and then we can finish up the ends. So again, an inner strand passes over at an angle. Pin it down. Like this. Then we're going to do the other side the same way. Like this. At some point you will want to finish up your owl. Now in this case I added 3 rows after my eyes. In some cases you're going to add 4, maybe even 5. It really depends on the spacings between your rows. It doesn't really matter how many rows you do, but it gives you a bit of a different look. At this point, we need to finish up the ends. To do this, I'm going to first work with the strands on the left. Take the inner 2, place them over the rest. Take the next cord and attach it onto your 2 cords using the double half hitch. Add the cord that you used to the previous 2, like this. Take the next cord and again attach it onto your 3 cords using the double half hitch. And add it to your previous 3 cords. Take the next cord, again attach it. And add it to the previous 4 cords. Take the next cord, attach it, and add it to the bunch. And the next cord, attach it, add it to the bunch. And the last cord, attach it, and with this side here on the left is complete. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the right side. So I place my inner 2 cords over the rest, then attach my cords, adding them to the bunch. And with this we brought all of our ends here to the bottom. Shape up your owl like this. And we're now going to attach our ends onto some sort of stick. Now this is not absolutely required. You could use the ends to simply form a tail. I'm now going to add a stick at the bottom of the owl. I'm first going to bring all of the ends together, like this. Take 3 from the left, place your stick over here, so at the bottom of the owl, and wrap around the 3 ends around like this. Take 3 ends from the right side and again wrap them around the stick. So we now have a bunch of ends here that we need to somehow secure. To do this, we're going to tie a square knot. I'm going to take the leftmost strand, this one here, place it under the rest of my cords and over the one on the right. Then the strand on the right passes over the rest of my strands and into the loop on the left side. So here. Tighten up to create a half knot. Like this. Then take the cord on the right, pass it under like this, and over the cord on the left. The left cord passes over the top and into the loop on the right side. Tighten up, and you have created a tail for the owl, the legs, and a little porch for the owl to sit on. Now tighten up every single one of the strands in the tail just to get everything even. Like this. Now you may add additional square knots if needed, but generally you are done. What we're going to do at this point is cut the ends, melt them, and our project is complete. I like to cut a small length away from the square knot melt the two ends and flatten them out. Like this. You may want to also trim the tail a little bit, it is up to you. And so guys, this is our project. The owl is fairly basic, but it is an excellent beginning. You can build upon this project, perhaps adding wings to your owl, perhaps finishing without the stick, perhaps finishing this bottom with a belly made just like at the start using square knots. You have a ton of options to choose from. At this point, I would like to thank you very much for joining me in this tutorial, and I hope to see you in my future tutorials as well.